Hello, everybody. Welcome to the table. Today we are taking a look at the CRKT Dextro. And so this is a new model for 2023. This is designed by TJ Schwarz. This is the 6295. And I am glad that CRKT is listening this year. So there are probably a few reasons why you're interested in this knife, and some of them are right here. So number one, we have a flipper blade that is non-assisted on bearings. And we haven't seen that from CRKT in quite a while. So I'm glad that at least on some of their models, they are stepping away from the assisted opening mechanism. And we get a nice design from Schwarz. So we are going to take a look at this knife. But of course, we have that unassisted opening. We have black aluminum handles with some nice texturing on there, as well as a D2 steel blade. And so this comes in at the price point. I want to say it was around $57. So all of that for that price is, in my opinion, a pretty good deal for what we're getting here. So let's take a look at the specs of the Dextro. So of course, like I said, we have a D2 steel blade, aluminum handles. Let's take a look at the overall length. So what we have right here, our blade length is coming in almost exactly spot on at 3.5 inches long. And the overall length of this knife, about 8 inches. So this is a good medium, large, everyday carry knife. So I'm gonna have some great comparisons on the table in just a minute. But coming in at that size, our weight for this knife is 4.7 ounces. So we are not over that 5-ounce mark, which is the make or break point for some people. And what we have here for this design, of course, you can tell it's all blacked out. So blacked out blade, blacked out aluminum handles. And if you look close on that texture, you can see there is some light texturing on the aluminum. Feels really good in hand. And I know in photographs, these aluminum handles might look like FRN or plastic, but they are not. They are solid aluminum. You can see inside there, we have a solid aluminum slab on one side, and they feel really good in hand. In terms of some color, we do have the colored around the pivot. The pivot collars are that neon green color, as well as the backspacer, also that neon green, to give the knife some pop and some differentiation, which is nice. The blade itself, of course, like I said, D2 steel, CRKT logo on one side, and of course the Schwarz design and model number. So not too many markings on the knife. You'll notice there are dual thumb studs as well, although this is a flipper on those bearings. Very nice action. Does not really need the thumb studs, but it gives you the option. And of course, being a non-assisted knife, there are some times you don't want to go ninja flipping on this thing, so you can definitely slow roll this knife open if you desire. And so that can be helpful in a lot of situations where you're not looking to hear that thwack of an opening flipper design. So great drop point design, very simple, very simplistic. The overall shape of the knife is just nice. It has everything you would want in an everyday carry knife, in a pocket knife, right here in this package. We do have a lanyard hole on the back, and you will notice our pocket clip right here, also blacked out. Deep carry, smooth transitions into your pocket. This one carries really nicely. And you can see even the screws are flush with the handle, so they got that right. Only potential downside here is that it is a single position pocket clip only. So too bad they couldn't put it for lefties as well. We do get right-hand side, tip up carry. So that's really, really nice. We also do not have any jimping up here on the spine. That would have been nice to see right here where the thumb rests. So it's all smooth transitions there. But I will say most aluminum handled knives tend to be a little bit slick, a little bit hard to grip onto, but we do have some texturing right here, these little grooves machined in, which are nice to hold on to. And of course, kind of that micro texture on the black coating itself is kind of nice. So take a look at the lockup. I know it's hard to see on a black knife, but you can see the lockup on the liner lock there, nice and early. No issues, no blade play. The blade is nice and sharp, of course, just like I would expect out of package. And you can check out the centering as well, which looks very nice. So perfectly centered, which of course is what I would expect for a knife running on those bearings. So really nice action, pretty impressive. So I'm really glad CRKT for 2023 did release us a non-assisted flipper. Some of us have been asking for that for quite a while because they love their assisted opening mechanisms, those spring action knives. Nothing wrong with them, but it's not for everybody. So I'm glad this Schwarz design came out, and it's a looker. You know, the shape is nice, the size is nice. let's do some size comparisons so you can kind of see it in comparisons to some very similar knives. Because number one, upon taking this out of the box, what this knife reminded me of was of a CRKT knife of yesteryear. This right here is the CRKT Foresight. And now this is not the newer version with the FRN plastic handles. These are aluminum handles as well. And you can see these ones are really well worn. That's what it's going to look like after time and use. And of course, this nice chunky blade, but this is also an unassisted flipper on bearings. This is one of their first IKBS bearing knives that CRKT released. So as you can see, this one was a Ken Onion design. And of course, side to side, the Foresight is larger, but they are very reminiscent of one another in the aluminum handles, the black coating, the ball bearing action. And this is what we want to see CRKT going back to, in my opinion, a little bit more and more. So this is the CRKT Foresight, the CRKT Dextro. We also have another aluminum handled blacked out knife on the table. This is the Kershaw Blur. So again, aluminum handles, and let's do a size comparison there. So we can see, again, it's right in that same ballpark. Similar blade length, similar size. This one's a liner lock as well. All very good actions. Big differentiation for both the Kershaw Blur and this knife right here. These ones are U.S. manufactured. This right here is a Benchmade Griptilian, full-size Griptilian. This particular one is the Blackwater Gear Edition, and so it's nice and blacked out. So all of our knives on the table today, all blacked out, nice matching pairs. But just for a size comparison's sake, let's put those together. You can kind of see for a full-size Griptilian, the overall length is very similar. The blade length is very similar. Even in hand, you know, the Griptilian tends to be a little bit chunkier and fatter, but they are still very, very reminiscent of one another. So a lot of great size comparisons. When you're looking at a 3.5-inch blade, your world kind of opens up in the knife world. There are a lot of choices, a lot of options. And CRKT this year did themselves a favor by releasing the Dextro with manual action. I would love to see some limited colorations and variants of this knife, because you can do a lot with aluminum handles, a lot with the color scheme. But overall, the design itself is definitely a winner. So this is the 6295. It just says Schwarz, but it's the Dextro CRKT 2023. Glad to have picked this one up. It's definitely a potential winner in my book. So if you have any questions about anything on the table, drop me a comment below. Love to hear from you. Hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you later. Bye.